Hey everyone, my name is Apolline and I wanted to share my, mental health journey with trying to get an autism diagnosis. I'm not 100% sure that I have autism, but I really strongly feel like I do. It's just really hard to get a diagnosis at this age. I'm 25 years old and I'm a female, and if I did have autism, I would be considered high masking and high functioning. I think that's what they call it. So I have some notes, but it's kind of like unorganized right now. But I basically decided to, what is the word? Film? No, there's another word, but I'll think of it later maybe. My journey of trying to get a diagnosis and understand more of my mental health struggles, because of all the therapy and help I've been getting from therapists, and them kind of not believing that I feel like I have autism, but also just kind of, I feel like they kind of gaslight me into thinking I'm not autistic. Like just recently when I was in the hospital a few days ago for mental health, the therapist, I was telling the therapist about how I have like a lot of empathy for like inanimate objects, and I told her about how I used to collect rocks when I was younger, and I like felt sorry for them, and like I had a lot of rocks in my pocket all the time coming home from school. And she was like, oh, I love rocks, I collect rocks too. And then I told her, like, I thought I could relate to her, so I was like, I'm gonna tell her about my baby doll that I still talk to. So I did, and it was like she was like shocked, like she didn't really know what to say. And then I told another psychiatrist about how I have like really like rigid routines that I would get really upset and kind of like shut down if those routines would get disrupted in any way. And she was like, maybe it's from anxiety and just wanting to, have control during those moments or something like that. And then she was like, did it ever, I keep forgetting the video got cut off, but what I was trying to say was, she was like, did it occur to you that some people are just a lot more anxious than others? So I'm gonna start by reading some stuff I wrote down in my journal. And whenever I try to bring up these situations or just concerns that I have, they kind of get pushed aside and I get interrupted and I never get to finish like what I want to say about it. Well, so I wrote down things to tell my therapist, because I'm gonna see her in like 3 days, and I've been to so many therapy appointments just in the short amount of time, and it's like I can never say what I want to say. So I hope that I get to finally read this, because I've been bringing my journal like all the time, every time I go to the appointments, and I never get a chance to like bring it out and read it to them. But yeah, so things to tell my therapist. In a bullet note, I wrote burned out / depression from exposure therapy. It did the opposite. And what I mean by that is, every time I felt like I didn't want to go to work or school, I would be told to like push through it, because me like going to work or school is gonna show me that there's nothing to be afraid of, and that like it will kind of set the tone for like the rest of the week and I won't be as anxious. So I did that for the longest time, and it did the exact opposite. Every time I do that, I end up in the hospital in kind of like a mental health crisis, and it led me to just this burnout and like depressive state where I have trouble getting out of bed and have trouble like eating or having an appetite, and then especially like thinking about missing work and school, and it's just making me feel a lot more guilty. If it's anxiety, like why did this make me feel worse? Another thing I wrote is sensory and overstimulation. So if it's anxiety, like how can I fix it with exposure? One evening I had sort of like a meltdown when my clothes were feeling so itchy and I felt so uncomfortable. And then that went along with me not being able to like move because I felt stuck. Like I had to pee, but I was holding in my pee and I felt like I couldn't like move or like get up to go to the bathroom. And then I was so hungry, but I couldn't get up. And it wasn't that I was just like physically like I couldn't get up. It was like, I don't know, maybe mentally. Like I couldn't bring myself to stop what I was doing and get up and do those things. So yeah, I kind of had a meltdown. And then my boyfriend was wrong and cheered me up. He brought me cereal, which is the only thing I've been eating for breakfast and dinner every day. That's like my comfort food. So he brought me cereal and I was just happy to have cereal. But I finally ate it, and while I was eating it, like I just stared into space and I was kind of like, I guess calming down, but also I had to, I guess, stim because like I couldn't really relax until I was like rubbing my legs together. It sounds weird, but yeah, I feel like that was just one of the things that happened where I knew was getting a lot worse. Another thing I wrote down was 25 years of struggle. So I remember when I was in kindergarten, I used to not want to go to school like almost every day. Like I would get so scared and so just really frustrated and I didn't want to go. And when I did go, I was crying the whole morning. Then in high school, kind of the same thing happened, except, you know, without the crying and begging my mom not to leave and stuff. I was absent a lot, and a lot of teachers were understanding about it because like they knew I was struggling with something, but then a lot of teachers weren't understanding about it. I was always a good kid, and in classes like they would always like say something about me being a good kid, but whenever that would happen, I would feel so guilty, feel like my teachers hated me and that I was a really bad kid because of my being absent a lot. I almost didn't graduate from high school because of that. High school was one of the scariest times in my life, just being in high school. Yeah. And then every semester of college so far and every job I've had, I just kind of like with a job I just like either quit, or with school like I'll stop going to school and stop doing work and being depressed again. And it's just weird how things would be okay in the beginning and for a while, and then all of a sudden it just like I just can't go on. Like it makes me feel guilty, like I'm just lazy. In my journal I wrote, in general I just feel so depressed again. I'm in the exact same headspace I was when I first went to the hospital and did rapid care. This period happened every semester so far. It's like, how can I finish school at this point? Life is so hard. Is it normal to be scared and uncomfortable 24/7? And then I'm gonna read why I think I have autism. I wrote down some things, some reasons why. So first, my clothes are always uncomfortable, and I never wear jeans anymore. It's always just leggings or yoga pants or something along those lines. With food, I feel really picky, and it kind of led to me being vegetarian. Like with meat, a big thing for me was like texture and like the look of it. Yeah, and just textures of certain foods. If I go to a restaurant or buffet or whatever, like I won't eat everything on my plate because there's always going to be something weird or gross for me to eat, usually because of textures. I inspect my food a lot. Loud sounds, that a lot of my therapists link that to my PTSD and like just trauma that I've had growing up, but no, I do have some trauma, but I don't think that that's the full explanation, because loud sounds for me, like it gives me a physical, feel it physically, like it's just, it feels really uncomfortable. With touching, I hate when people just touch me, and I feel like that's a weird thing to say because like how often are people touching? But like throughout my life, I guess. And I guess also because like being female and a people pleaser, like it happens a lot more. But even with just my safe people, like my mom or my boyfriend, even them just touching me when I really don't, well, just at random times, I guess. Like when my mom was comforting me, trying to hug me and pat like, you know, my back or shoulder and stuff, that was so physically uncomfortable. And then with my boyfriend, there are times when I do want to hug him and be affectionate with him, but when it's not when I'm expecting it, or when it's just not when I initiate it, I feel so, I guess, I don't know how to describe it, not upset, but just bothered by it. I guess for a normal person, like if someone just slaps you, no, I don't know, that doesn't sound good. Okay, the next thing, shutting down when I'm overstimulated, if I'm not irritated. And a lot of times, like, I'll just zone out, not even talk, and I'll look upset or mad, I guess. And when one does talk to me, like, I'll be irritated, or I'll seem irritated, and if it's a question, I'll just say, I don't know. And another thing is stimming. It feels like when I bring this up to my therapist, they don't like when I use that word. Like, it's something that is, I guess, sacred, and that, like, how did I get that word? Like, I'm just like wanting it to be me, I guess. But I mean, like, there's not really another word that is as good of a description, I guess. And I mean, it comforts me all the time, like every time, and I don't even notice when I'm doing it a lot of times. Like, I'll be picking at the side of my nails throughout the whole day, even when I'm, I guess, calm or not anxious, because for my therapist, they think that I'll have periods of time where I'm really anxious, and that's when it happens, or that's when I feel anxiety. For me, I'm anxious the whole day, so I'll be stimming the whole day. When I'm by myself or when I'm just at home, like, I'll pick at my scalp. Sometimes, I don't know if this counts, but I'll just say random like words I've heard throughout the day, and like I would be embarrassed myself, like I would do it when no one's around, but I would feel embarrassed that I did that because it's like kind of weird. And another thing that I mentioned before, rubbing my legs and feet together, that's also really calming, especially when I'm trying to sleep. And another thing I mentioned, holding in my pee or getting hungry and feeling stuck, like I can't stop what I'm doing. Hyper empathy for animals and inanimate objects, or feel strongly about social justice issues. Like whenever I see an animal or someone's talking about an animal or something sad is being said about an animal, I get so drawn to it, I guess, like so attached to the animal. Whenever there's an animal too, like in movies, like they're the ones that I always just pay attention to or want to know what's gonna happen to that animal. I mean, there's a lot more, like I'll probably make separate videos later on going more into these things, but this is just the list I wanted to go through. Overly sensitive. And also, my boyfriend also brought up, if I'm bothered by something, like I'll keep mentioning it and I kind of won't let it go. Like even if, okay, we move on after a few sentences or like the thought is done, like I'll bring up that thing again that like keeps bothering me. Yeah. With social interactions, ever since I was little, ever since I can remember, I've had social anxiety, and that was one of the things that I was diagnosed with as a kid. I would always think, like, how is it this bad, so severe, that it really just affected my daily life? Hopefully some of you guys can understand. With eye contact, another reason why people don't think I have autism is because of eye contact. I will be actively thinking about eye contact while I'm interacting with someone. It's hard for me to pay attention to what they're saying if I'm trying to do the eye contact. I always am trying to do it just so I can seem normal, and paying attention to how I'm paying attention to my expressions and tone of voice. Sometimes I feel like I copy someone's like energy and tone, and sometimes accent. Okay, another thing is, in middle school I was like really aware of it even more, but also half sister and half brother would point it out, but I was always smiling. And I am by myself or with just my family, I don't have to, or I don't even notice it or feel it or anything, so I'm relaxed. But when I'm with people I'm not comfortable with, just anytime I'm in public or whatever, I'll be smiling. And it's just so I do it so that my facial expression is like controlled and that I can, I guess, not seem weird. But then I guess it does seem weird because I got like mocked for it a lot. And then some special interests that I noticed that I have is like with World War II. I'm not really actively pursuing it right now because of how busy I am, how depressed I am. But if there is a movie playing in theaters, or that I see on streaming stuff, when I do have time to watch anything, I'll always watch something about World War II. Any YouTube videos I watch, this is kind of same topic but not really, it's always nonfiction stuff. Movies too, like for me a nonfiction movie, a movie that isn't nonfiction, I guess, it's like kind of hard for me to watch. just everything I watch is nonfiction. I don't know. Okay. So another special interest that I have currently, I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but it's basically Mexican culture. I watch a lot of stuff about the cartels for some reason. I like movies about the cartels. I only listen, or mostly listen, majority of what I listen to is music in Spanish. I'm taking Spanish right now. Actually, the semester just ended, so I have an incomplete grade because of my depression and hospitalization or whatever. But yeah, that's just one of my special interests. Another thing, I don't know if this is one of those traits for autism, forgetting words every time I talk. And it's kind of embarrassing when I'm talking to my coworkers or friends. Like I'll just forget a word, and it's like any random word, and like I can't really go on without. I mean, it's just embarrassing. And a lot of times too, my mouth talks before I think about what I'm saying or process what I'm saying. And a lot of times the things that I say are out of order, and like people don't understand it right away. And then so I find myself having to like fix what they understand. I always feel misunderstood, and I have to like explain it. Always explaining myself. I hate small talk and greetings. Overshare, and I prefer deeper conversations. I obsess about explaining some things. I was always labeled as weird because of my mannerisms, my expressions, or my clothes. I've heard that I dressed like an old lady when I was in middle school. Oh, and high school. Friends. I was always friends with nerdy guys in middle and high school. Or people that were special ed. And those were the people that I felt like myself with. Like I didn't have to worry about the things I had to say, how I'm perceived. But also another thing is not having any real friends. Like I don't ever feel comfortable enough to be, I guess, best friends with someone or good friends with someone. It's always, I guess, whenever I just see them at school and work, and then once school or work is over, we just don't keep in contact. It's hard for me to start tasks or transition from tasks. One of the things that I think about is like me getting out of the car is being hard, but also like doing homework or folding clothes, or like even just eating. Yeah. Like I mentioned, super upset when I get disrupted from routine. Once I get home, I have to change into my comfortable clothes. I have to take off my rings. I have to take off my necklace. I have to take off my makeup. I have to change into my pajamas and wash my hands first. What else? Clean my glasses, clean my phone. And it's like I can't do it fast enough. And if I get disrupted or interrupted from that, it's like I just get really upset about it. I always felt like an alien growing up and not normal. Even as a little kid, like I would always observe people and what they said and did, their behaviors, and always just thought that I was like, I just felt like someone who wasn't normal. and kind of like even now, not having a genuine personality because like of having to act normal. I love anime. That's something new that I've been getting into. I guess it's developing into one of my special interests. Being out in public causes me extreme stress, and a lot of times I'll get irritable. Inanimate objects, personifying everything. A lot of times I'll see something and I'll think it's like really cute, and I guess I personify it. And I get attached to those inanimate things. I remember when I was little, like, thinking that dodgeballs and like some basketballs were cute, and that I wanted to keep them with me like the whole time, every time I'd go to recess or whatever. Also, there were these bears, like these counting bears. I would steal them when I was in first grade. Yeah, I don't know why I brought that up, but what else? Oh, I don't know if this is part of it, but I'll just tell the story because it's a good story. When I was in second grade, we had the silent sustained reading, and then our teacher would provide us with Beanie Babies that we got to pick if we wanted them, and they were always in the back with the books, and I would always get the same one all the time. It was this old looking brown bear, very plain, and it had like a red stain on one side of the face, and like, to me, thinking about it now, it looked like a Kool-Aid stain, but I don't know, it could be anything, but that's just kind of what it looked like. But I would get it every time we did the silent sustained reading, and no one else wanted that bear, so I was happy to see it every time. One day when someone would choose that bear, like, I would get upset. I mean, I wouldn't do anything, of course, I just wouldn't choose another animal or whatever. But yeah. And then at the end of the year, when my teacher was retiring, she was giving away her Beanie Babies or stuffed animals that we read with, and someone took it. And I remember just being so upset, like thinking like the whole year, like I had it, and I still think about it. What else? I love staring into space. That's one of the things I really enjoy doing. Ever since I can remember. And my boyfriend, he always pointed it out, like it was weird, like especially the first time he met me, and like he still kind of does now, like are you okay? And then just now when I'm piecing everything together, and okay, like realizing staring into space is also something that people with autism or ADHD do. Like, now that I've explained it to him, like, he understands and he knows that that's just like what I do. Yeah, it's just really relaxing and comforting when I do that, and I do feel safe. Especially looking out the window, like I just get drawn when I'm facing the window, or when I'm just outside especially. It's the best. I can't focus on talking, that goes with the social anxiety thing, or listening unless it's quiet, or like if I'm watching something and someone's talking to me, like I can't, like it's too much for me. And this might be normal for everyone, but I have to have it paused before I can listen. And then if someone does talk to me, like I'll pause it but then I go back to see what I missed and stuff. And that, I don't know, that kind of sounds normal, but that's just one thing. I'm always in my own thoughts. I have a very, what I read, and this is a good way to describe it, is a really rich inner world. I love just thinking, making scenarios in my head, just anything, counting, thinking, imagining, planning stuff, just everything. I prefer, I mean, I guess it could also just be an introverted thing also. But also I like to use that time to process things, like think about things that happened throughout the day or even years ago, and just dissect it, I guess. A lot of times I can't find the words to explain myself, like why I'm upset or uncomfortable or why I'm anxious. And I found that out also a lot, like recently, going into therapy and talking to my boyfriend about it, that I can't really find the words a lot of times to describe it. Another thing I noticed, I feel like a lot of people don't. I feel like nowadays it doesn't bother me as much, but when I was a kid, I would always notice when people didn't follow the rules and they would get away with it. And it was like something that I couldn't do, or that I felt like I couldn't get away with, or that I just can't do it because then I'd make it so obvious, or that I just feel really bad doing it. Like, we're really not supposed to do that. I have a hard time making decisions, even with just little things. I'll notice it a lot when I'm at the grocery store and picking between items. Like, it'll take me a really long time, and sometimes, like, after all that time, I'll just decide not to get any of them because, like I don't really want it anymore. But just deciding on things, like, I have a hard time, and especially with, like, my career, I kept going back from nursing and biology. I'm back to biology, but I also consider nursing again because February is when they decide who gets in the program at my school. But now I'm also interested in nutrition and psychology stuff. And especially with, like, animals, I know that that's something I could see myself doing, just working with animals. But there's just so many possibilities. And then, but it's like, can I even do any of them if I can't go through with school? Also, being a people pleaser, I feel like all my interactions are for the other person. I'm not myself, or I'm not authentic and genuine, and I'm just really, really, really nice. Like, everyone always says I'm really, really nice, that I'm like the sweetest person. Long processing times. When someone asks me a question or talks to me, like, I'll pause for a while, and before that I would kind of panic and have to answer right away, but now I give myself time to actually, like, pause and think about what I want to say. It doesn't always work though, but also relying on my safe person, which is my boyfriend, to feel okay and I guess be as close to normal as I can, or function at my best. That's also one of the reasons why I wanted a service dog, so I can be independent, because I can't take my boyfriend everywhere. That's just not acceptable, I guess, in this world. So having a service dog, I feel like would help me a lot. It's a hard process though. I have to like find an organization and do that, but I don't know where to start. I tried to with my insurance, but they didn't do it, so I have to find other ways, but at the moment I can't have a service dog because I already have 2 dogs at home and I live with family. So that's not possible right now. Just overall, every day is really stressful. I wish I could just stay home. Okay, and this is good too. This is what I wrote. I'm done with the list, by the way, but I feel like I won't ever be able to keep a job. I never had a job long, and that's why I applied for disability. I just feel like it's not fair that I won't ever be secure because of my mental health. And like, I don't know how anyone can work every day, multiple hours a day. Like, for me, that's something that I can't even like fathom, because I know that I am so prone to like just stress and burnout from going about, I guess, a regular day. Okay, and then about me not being believed that I might be autistic, it makes me think, then what is wrong with me? Like, what do all of my struggles mean? I just feel like I'm not made for this world. Like, I'm always uncomfortable and put in so many stressful situations 24/7, but it's just everyday life that everyone experiences. Is it really just anxiety? Is it that severe that I'm anxious about everything? When it comes to my clothes feeling uncomfortable, how does anxiety relate or cause it? If it's anxiety, how can I ignore it or restructure my thoughts around it? What about with food? How is my anxiety making it so I only like cereal or hyperfixate on foods? And is it just comfort until it's gross? So I'm gonna try to find some. Now I'm going to read an email that I sent to my boss. I said, "Good morning. I have decided not to continue with school, and I will not be coming into work for the rest of the semester. I was in the hospital last night but got discharged even though I wanted to be in inpatient care. I got put into IOP, which is Kaiser's Intensive Outpatient Program, which will be from 9 to 12 for about 6 days, I believe. I am currently fighting feelings of wanting to run away. Ever since I was in high school, I've been wanting to run away and be homeless, but I was convinced for now my boyfriend not to do that." So I was in the hospital on Monday, from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. because it took so long, the whole process. I basically went in for mental health. I was really struggling, but they didn't want to admit me for inpatient because they said unless I'm a danger to myself or to others that I couldn't be admitted. So the next day, instead of going to take my chemistry final, I spent the day in a dark room crying or sleeping, and I had only eaten 1 quesadilla and 1 cookie until my boyfriend came home around 7 and made me food. The next day, I laid in bed basically all day, but I barely cried. When I felt really bad, I decided to walk to the mall. It was already really dark outside, and it would have been an hour and 33 minutes to walk there. While I was walking, I kept thinking, I don't care if I die or get taken. It was a nice walk. So Nito, he passed by me in the car. Oh, Nito's my boyfriend, by the way. He made me get in the car and he took me to the mall because he was really worried and everything. Like, I just wanted to walk. and like feel the cold and the wind, and I just really like walking for some reason. I remember when I was in high school, when I would skip school and I couldn't go home, I would just walk, and that was really comforting. I also wrote, well, that situation I just remembered about high school wasn't written in here, but now I'm going to continue reading what's in here. I really don't want to have to go to work or go to school. It's so hard for me. I know I'm not just lazy. Okay, so now I'm not reading it. But so I was getting treatment for anxiety and doing CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. I was doing that with my therapist, but also I was attending like Zoom classes on CBT for anxiety. And when I had a appointment with a psychiatrist either last week or a couple weeks ago, they told me to just put that on pause, or I could just choose not to even continue with the CBT and anxiety stuff, but should instead focus on DBT. So I'm gonna go into detail about running away. When I was in high school, I think especially, I forgot if I thought about it before, but I would kind of feel like I wanted to run away so that I didn't have to be forced to go to school. Of course, it's not easy and it's really hard being homeless, but for me, that seemed more desirable than having to be forced into going to school, and having to just do this for the rest of my life, like being forced to go to work or school. What I'm trying to focus on is getting disability. I have a therapy appointment in 3 days, so I'm going to try to bring that up or get that filled out, that part of the form, because it says it has to be filled out within 10 days. So I'm hoping that they would do that and not just tell me that I have to work on my anxiety again, because I feel like it's just not getting anywhere at all. And like, they don't understand that I've been forcing myself doing the exposure therapy all my life, and I don't think it's just anxiety. And I also feel like me being so I guess me having my issues affect my school and my ability to keep a job and going to work all the time. I feel like it's not fair that I could be making money if I were normal. But it's so hard for me, and then it's like I'm losing out on the money that I would be making if I were normal. Oh, and it was just such a coincidence and really reassuring today when I was writing in my journal, just like an hour ago, I saw a video because I looked up autism and working to see more about it. I saw a video saying only 15% of autistic people are employed, and only 20% of autistic people graduate post-secondary education. And like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it was so reassuring to see it, especially like now when I'm dealing with those thoughts, and like kind of helped me to think that I'm not being just over dramatic about it. So I feel like this is already a really long video, but this is kind of the last point for now. When I was looking at those videos and stuff, I saw this other thing. I'm going to tag the people that said it because I didn't write it down, but Okay, this is another quote I saw. People often tell neurodivergent people that we're not trying hard enough. But the reality is that oftentimes we've been pushing through for too long. We don't stop because we don't care or aren't motivated. We stop because our nervous system physically can't keep going. It's not laziness, it's shutdown. A shutdown isn't just mental exhaustion, it's a full body neurological crash. Your brain has been in fight or flight for so long that it runs out of fuel. Then I skip to, it's not something we can think our way out of. The only way to recover is to rest completely. Then I skipped. We grow up learning our worth is tied to our productivity. Yeah. I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna see how it goes. With my appointment just in 3 days. Hopefully things keep moving. I'm not super hopeful because of how long it's been taking and all of the therapists that don't believe me. We'll see. If you made it this far, thank you for watching everything. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes because even if I'm not believed, like, at least I get to share my experiences for people who are also dealing with this, or just, I guess, in a way, maybe educating people on the struggles that I'm dealing with. So yeah, thank you.